You're listening to The Watchers, a show where two women from opposite ends of New Jersey plan a list of their favorite things of the year and don't tell each other beforehand. And so hopefully learn something about each other in the course of this podcast episode.
Listeners didn't hear our cut of your first take, but I liked best favorite. This is my best favorite things, like you said.
Yeah. No, it's true. Because I actually really like best of list episodes of podcasts. Some people I think they're filler. I really like them because it gives me like a list of things that maybe I missed that I should check out.
Exactly.
But I'm Jodie.
And I'm Andrea.
And so we're going to do this. I didn't re-listen to any of our past ones. I think we've done 2 of these so far, but I did look at the list of our lists from last year.
I did not.
Last year we had the wonderful Tara Jane Kasparov.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that was our review episode. I knew we had her on, but...
Yeah, so last year, because there were 3 of us, we each picked 3 things. And I think I was very proud of my 3. I stand by them to this day, and if I hadn't picked them last year, I could have picked them again. Last year, Tara recommended Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2, Fanatical, The Catfishing of Tegan and Sarah, and Baby Girl, the Nicole Kidman movie. You recommended Leroy, Texas.
Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
Rush of Energy. I don't know what that is.
That's Bike Roots EP.
Oh, yes.
Great.
I know what that is. And then, of course, There's Always This Year by Hanif and Dearkeep. Of course.
Just 2 little notes. Bike Roots, killing it this year. I was so right. They're playing in April however you want to, in Philly with the Wonder Years, and they've been on tour with all kinds of like punk and pop punk and emo and post-emo and post-hardcore bands this year. So
awesome.
I said 2 things. What was the second thing? What was the last thing I recommended? Oh, Hanif Abdurraqib announced this year he's got a new book of poetry coming out next year, and I am so excited. Look for that on my end of year list next year.
Amazing. I feel like we should give ourselves a couple of honorable mentions when they come up, if they come up for us for this year, because this isn't really a piece of media, but like one of the coolest in-person experiences I had was listening to him read his book aloud.
This is just you bragging. This is just,
it is me bragging.
And I get it.
Well, here's the thing. So Hanif is someone that you introduced me to. I still have yet to actually read one of his books. Mm-hmm. I follow him on Instagram. I appreciate him as a human. And his sort of general overall vibe is wonderful.
The best.
But I found out that he was doing a book event in Rhode Island at the RISD auditorium, sort of last minute. And was almost afraid to tell you because I thought you were going to be so jealous.
No, I was so excited for you.
But also, you would have never forgiven me had I not gone.
Exactly.
So I did go, and I went by myself and ended up running into a ton of people I know because my friends have good taste. And I got to listen to him read from the book that you recommended, There's Always This Year. And I've been to a lot of artist talks and book readings and things like that. Like, I am the stereotype of like a Northeast person with an MFA. Like I go to talks. I don't think I've ever heard anyone read better, like, and engage a room better than he did at that book reading. It was amazing.
Unbelievable.
And you could have heard a pin drop in that room, and none of us wanted him to stop.
Right. He was actually on my list of 5 things we're going to do this year. One of my 5 was almost Hanif Abdurraqib, the person, specifically following him on Instagram. He's so engaged and thoughtful and funny and loves the things he loves so much and is so not afraid to post 15 stories in a row talking about his favorite chorus of 2025 or a pair of sneakers that he loves. And all of it to me feels very outward. Like all of it is in the desire to connect more with other people. And I think a lot of book talks and readings can be more like, here I am to show you what I have done.
Performing.
As opposed, yes.
Yeah.
And I think for him,
it was one of those, he read and it was mesmerizing and theatrical, but also inward. And it was really engaging. He reads very quickly. And his prose is sort of very He likes words a lot.
Yeah.
Like but it was just like, I felt like I was just being like transported, just listening to him read. I could have sat there for hours, and famously have ADHD and do not sit still well. Like I can't literally sit in a movie for 2 hours, but I did not want to get up during his reading. So
he also loves Ohio the way we love New Jersey.
And Ohio is a very New Jersey adjacent vibe.
I cheated on what I'm bringing to the podcast, Jodie.
Oh, I did too.
I'm bringing categories, my favorite categories of the year. So I'm just going to fire off a bunch of honorable mentions, and I hope that's okay. I had such it's funny, last year I feel like I had a hard time coming up with new stuff to really have been excited about other than what we covered on the podcast in the first place.
Yeah, we should say, like, I think we haven't talked about this, but I didn't include anything from things we have covered already.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, it felt like, I don't know if it's maybe I'm just in a better place or if like pop culture is in a better place, but there was a lot of stuff that I really loved this year. So I didn't want to.
I feel like for me, it was a lot of the things that would have made the list were like either we covered or were like last seasons of things that we have kind of touched on. And so it was a little more challenging for me. What I found was that my list ended up being a little bit categories and also a little bit more like pop culture moments.
I'm excited.
Than full shows or movies or podcasts or whatever. So
that's cool.
Okay, so this is our official top fives. And I think top 5 favorite media things of the year 2025.
That's right. Do you want to start?
So my number 1, when I looked back at how much time I spent watching things this year, the thing I spent by far the most time watching was Taskmaster.
I knew it was going to be Taskmaster. That wasn't on your list last year?
No, because it was pre-Jason Mantzoukas. I had it.
Right.
So my journey with Taskmaster is I'm very late to the party, but I caught the fuck up. So like I got introduced to it because, of course, our mutual love, Jason Mantzoukas, was on season 19. And it could have been just an exercise in like fangirling, watching him do something new and improv related and fun. But I ended up really loving all of the other comedians on the show. That season had Fatia El Ghori, Matthew Bainton, Rosie Ramsey, and Stevie Martin. And like there are clips from that season that I always come back to. Specifically Jason Mantzoukas and Stevie Martin rolling around on the floor together.
So good.
And Jason's just improving the line, "What do you think will happen after we graduate?" as they looked up at the ceiling. One of the like best moments on a TV show of the year. I will say to make this a little bit more professional podcaster than just me like talking about how much I love the show. There are now 20 seasons. The thing that is coming up is the New Year's Treat and the Champion of Champions are both coming up. So every 5 seasons or series, they do a Champion of Champions of the last 5. And so because they just did 20, there's going to be a new Champion of Champions episode coming up this winter. What I thought I would do as a professional podcaster, because there are so many seasons, and if any of our listeners are like, I keep hearing that this is really fun, but there's so much of it, where do I start? I thought I would just kind of give a little primer of how to get into it, maybe places to start. So all of the series are on YouTube, but the thing about it is there's so much of it on YouTube. There's clips, there's like compilations, there's best of this person on this season. It's just very confusing. So what I would say is if you are interested, the Taskmaster YouTube page has different playlists, and they have playlists of each season. So ignore all the other stuff that gets confusing, especially if you're not super familiar with the format of the show.
Right.
Pick a season and start at the first episode, and you will then start to understand the structure. Then you can kind of dive into any season that has someone on it that you're interested in. That's kind of how I did it. So I started with Series 19 with Jason Mantzoukas, watched the whole thing, and then was like, what else? Who else do I know from my pop culture experience that's on a season that might, because it's a lot of British comedians that are very famous on the panel show circuit in the UK, some of whom have made it, have broken across the ocean to us here in the US, and some haven't. And so there were certain seasons where I would look at the cast and be like, I don't know who any of these people are. And like, I'm a comedy person, and like, I think of myself as pretty literate in terms of that, but there is a whole panel show circuit. And so for me, I watched 19, and then I went to the season that Mae Martin was on, which is series 15, which I will say overall is an excellent season, or series. I keep messing that up, but whatever. An excellent season compared to, like, if you look at all 20, I have like a top 5 or so that I go back to.
Okay.
And the Mae Martin season, and not even really, I mean, Mae Martin's amazing on it, but that season in general was incredible. It was Frankie Boyle, Ivo Graham, Jenny Eclair, Kyle Smith Bino, and Mae Martin. Jenny Eclair is a woman I had never heard of before.
Yeah.
She is an older comedian with fun glasses and white hair. There is an episode of that series where Jenny Eclair drives a barge that is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I still just say out loud to myself, brace, 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 like half the time now when like something is when I'm in a car or whatever. Incredible. So that's series 15. I'm going to recommend a couple of places to start if you know of any of these people. So that's 15. Another incredible one is series 7, which has James Acaster, which is the person I knew, of course, Jessica Knappett, Phil Wang, Carrie Godliman, and Rod Gilbert. That season is incredible because obviously James Acaster is a fucking weirdo, and it's great. But the way that they put these groups of 5 people together is so specific because they have different personality types. And so you've got the weirdo in James Acaster. You've got Jessica Knappett, who is like just sweet and well-meaning and charming and maybe a little silly. Phil Wang, who is just deadpan the whole time and wearing a Bruce Lee unitard situation the whole time. Sometimes they wear costumes. Matthew Bainton throughout Jason Mantzoukas' season, as you remember, was wearing like a little running outfit.
Right, yeah. Oh, that's funny. I didn't really think about... Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't clock that as like
as a weird thing. No, people do that. Like there was a season, I can't remember who it was, and I'm going to kick myself for it, but one person was wearing a vampire outfit the whole time. Oh. So, but Rod Gilbert is the 5th person on series 7, and he and Greg Davis go way, 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 way back. And so there was a lot of fucking around between the two of them that was really fun. So series 15, Mae Martin season, series 17, James Acaster. I'm going to recommend one more, but I have about 5 or 6 that are my favorites. So the last one I want to recommend is series 13. That's Ardalo Hanlon, Bridget Christie, Chris Ramsey, Judy Love, and Sophie Duker. Sophie Duker and Judy Love, are fucking hilarious in that series. They're clearly, if they weren't friends before this, they are now. But there's a clip that I come back to when I need a good laugh from this one. There was a task where you had to guess which shoe Alex wanted you to pick out of a room full of shoes. And they're in a church for some reason.
I just want to be on the team writing the tasks.
I know. Apparently Alex Horn comes up with them while sitting in a hot tub.
Perfect.
But so the task is to find out what shoe Alex is thinking of or whatever. And so you're in a church full of pairs of shoes, and you have to ask a series of questions, and whoever gets it with the lowest number of questions wins, right? And the one little additive to the task is every time you ask a question and Alex answers it, you have to do something or say something that he has told you in advance to do. So like Sophie Duker's task is to, every time she asks a question and he answers, be more exasperated, which is funny because she ends up being actually way more exasperated. Sometimes it's a phrase or something you have to say after the fact. Chris Ramsey, who has, to me as an American, a very delightful accent and is a very sort of jovial person, every time Alex answers a question for him is told to say the phrase, "No way." This goes on for a long time. And the way that he says "no way" is the best thing. I could watch this every day and just get a good chuckle. He never forgets the sort of joyous part of having to say, no way, every single time. Yeah, so my number one is Taskmaster. And specifically, if you're going to jump in and you don't know where to go to the YouTube page, go to the season or series playlists, and choose one with someone you are already familiar with. I would recommend 15 with Mae Martin, 7 with James Acaster, and 13 with Chris Ramsey, Judy Love, Arlo Hanlon. Those are my top 3, I think.
I'm just going to start. Mine is definitely in no particular order. This is, like I said, some of these that I'll be talking about are more like categories, like things that I don't know how to explain it.
I have one category, yeah.
But this is not a category. This was just my favorite new podcast of the year.
Okay, cool.
It's a very silly one. Jodie, you're familiar with Business Casual, the sketch group?
Yes.
It's Jeremy Elder, Corey Peter Lane, and Hunter Sailing. We went and saw their Cowboys show.
Boot and Coffee.
At Boot and Coffee. They're a sketch group from California. They were based out of New York for a year or so. They are back in California now. But they started a podcast at the beginning of this year called The Business Casual Show. And the premise is, I'm just going to read their description. Each week, Corey, Hunter, and Jeremy prepare surprise segments for each other with varying levels of success. Some examples include Guess the Soup, Wizard Court, a deep dive on white reggae, and a final verdict on which Muppet deserves a gun. And so it's really fun. It's really silly. But then also, like, they've had just, like, all of my favorite people on already. Their first, and I think so far only live show, one of the guests was Josh Gondelman, but he just took the SATs the whole time.
Amazing.
And then it's folks,
I mean, we have said that, like, that Josh Gondelman is a reason to listen to any podcast.
But also like people like who I really love, Josh Sharp, Gethard was on, Demi Adejuyigbe was on, Anna Garcia from Dropout was on, Gareth Reynolds, Benny Feldman, Doug Benson, Claire O'Kane, Jeremy Culhane, Jay Jordan. So it's really fun. They have all of my favorite people in comedy on. They're so silly and so funny. And I'm such a fan of theirs, and I was just very excited to have a reason to be able to hear them be silly every week. And
I love that.
So yeah, if you're looking for a new silly fun podcast, Business Casual Show, I highly, highly recommend.
That's awesome. I think that the silly fun things ended up on my list a good amount. I feel like I have multiple categories, but if you wanted to chunk it into 2 main categories, it would be like silly things that brought me joy in like kind of a dark year, and then more serious things that I thought were just really well done or worth watching.
I have a couple of those on here too. Speaking
of joy, I think, so this is kind of a smaller one, but it's also one that I'm trying to figure out how to categorize this. It's a little bit of a category. It's also a little bit of like a moment mention. Okay. I'm kind of cheating and putting a few things into this. Wait till you section.
Hear what I've done, Jodie. Just wait.
Okay.
You're going to be mad.
Okay. Great. So last year, one of mine was Game Changer and Dropout in general. This was like I had just, over the few months before the end of the year last year, been introduced to Dropout, finally seen a bunch of Game Changer clips. So I'm not going to just recommend Game Changer again, but I am going to mention 2 specific Dropout / Game Changer related things.
Okay.
I'm cheating here.
Just wait.
I was worried some of this might be on your list, actually. There's plenty of places we don't overlap in our daily pop culture intake.
Yeah, but
there are some significant places we do. So for me, I already recommended Game Changer last year. If you're not familiar with Dropout and Game Changer, game show, game changes every show. Very silly, lots of comedians, very fun. Dropout, highly recommend. I want to recommend specifically the 1 year later episode of this last season of Game Changer. You don't have to know the lore of this show or have watched this show for years to understand it, but it is that much better if you understand the people involved in this specific episode. It was Vic Michaelis, Jacob Wysocki, and Lou Wilson. And they're all Dropout regulars. They're all friends and have a delightful comedic trio relationship. Mm-hmm. This episode, I'm not going to say anything else about it. It's called 1 Year Later. That is enough of a clue as to what happens. But I would say just if you want to see the biggest big brain version of Game Changer.
That's a great one.
Because like there are episodes of Game Changer that are self-contained, very great, funny. Like there was what was it called? Rule. It was from this recent season. Where it was just like they had a big Wheel of Fortune, not Wheel of Fortune. They had a big Price is Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's I love that episode. Those
it was a great episode.
Might be the ones I've watched most often, like repeated this year of this year's episodes.
Mm-hmm. So there's plenty of them that are sort of smaller, self-contained, still brilliant. 1 Year Later just is a banger. It just has so much happening in it. It's an arc. It's a story in and of itself. It's like one of the best things I have seen a group of people put together on television. It's beautiful.
It's perfect. It's really perfect.
This is why I said I'm cheating. Other honorable mentions from this last season of Game Changer are Who Wants to Be Jacob Wysocki?
Perfect.
Which made me cry.
So good.
The finale of the season, Sam Alama Ding Dong.
Also
wonderful.
Perfect. God, so many good ones this season.
But I do think, so like, while we were watching that season week to week, I remember being fully blown away by 1 Year Later, happy that they didn't try to keep upping the ante every week, because that would have felt like just an exercise for exercise's sake.
Right.
But because of that, I don't think the others had their own individual delights, but I don't think of them the way that I think of 1 Year Later. So
I agree. I mean, I think, man, there's not a bad episode. I mean, I don't think there's a bad episode across, but there's not a weak episode because, Roulette is the one that...
Yes, that's what I was trying to come up with.
But it's also the drinking game episode, which is...
It's good, yeah.
It's so good. Also Ernestist. Anyway, it's...
Yes.
Now I'm just saying
great
titles
season.
of a show that I like. It's a great season.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But, yeah. And then I have one little addendum. It's like a 2B. I have probably watched this maybe once a day since it was a thing.
It's so motivating.
So what we are talking about is, it's from Make Some Noise, not Game Changer. Mm-hmm. But the prompt was, these daily affirmations are a bit off. And the first few are fine. They're funny. They're whatever. And then Jacob Wysocki goes on a rant that is for neurodivergent people everywhere.
It's perfect.
You are a regular guy. You can enter a space. You are a regular guy. You can enter a room. You are a regular guy. You can do that transaction. You are a regular guy. You know how to answer the phone. You are a regular guy. You know what sleep is. You are a regular guy. You know how to wake up. You are a regular guy. You know how to move through space. You are a regular guy. You know what it means to be you.
And specifically, I can't speak to anyone else. For those of us with like ADHD and some weird like neurodivergent social stuff, the idea that I can have somebody with Jacob Wysocki's enthusiasm say to me, you can enter a space,
is
it's brilliant. I'm just watching it.
He's the best.
Sorry.
You know what sleep is the one that
it's so good.
It's just
I know.
Directly to me.
And it's so brilliant stream of consciousness, Jacob Wysocki, like, because if you've watched a lot of Dropout, which you and I both have, you also know that Jacob Wysocki's character and is not, I mean, it's who he is, but also the character he plays as a part of this ensemble is the sweet, encouraging, like, doesn't take credit for it, but is constantly like doing nice things for other people, donating to charity, like helping people out,
propping
like
people up. Yeah, exactly.
Propping people up. Yeah. And so knowing that makes it even more sweet. So obviously we'll link that in the show notes, and you should save it on your phone to watch in the morning when you forget how to do that transaction or wake up.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's my number 2. Game changer 1 year later / Jacob Wysocki giving you a pep talk.
Perfect. My next one is a category within a category. So I'm going to give you the broader category, and then we're going to drill down.
Cool.
So one of my favorite things of 2025 is comedy specials.
Oh boy. Okay. And I'm excited for this. Go ahead.
There were so many this year that I really loved.
Which is funny because I couldn't come up with a bunch, and maybe I just didn't dive deep enough.
One thing is, one of the reasons I didn't just pick one is because so many of them came out in December. And so it felt unfair to pick one that I haven't had a lot of time to sit with, even though a couple of my favorites were literally from this week. A couple that I think will end up on my list of favorites. I should also say, honorable mention it's something you and I are both excited about. We are recording this on December 18th. Tomorrow, Kumail Nanjiani's special comes out, Night Thoughts. I love Kumail. His Beta Mal is one of my favorite comedy specials of all time. I know it by heart. Some of my like earworms that cycle through my head day after day are from that special. He's so funny. And if you weren't somebody who kind of got it on the ground floor with Kumail because of his like from that side of things, and like his X-Files podcast
Meltdown with Jonah Ray, like that was kind of my introduction to him, was watching him and Jonah Ray put Meltdown on.
And so if you know him first and foremost from like movies and
having
being
muscles.
famous for having muscles, you might be surprised or a little skeptical, but he's so funny. And again, I haven't seen the special yet, so I obviously can't put it in this list. But I almost said to you beforehand, should we just say we put it on the list?
Yeah.
So I'm certain it's going to be great. Couldn't put it on the list. But so comedy specials. I'm going to fire off a few others, and then I'm going to give you my subcategory, which is the real actual recommendation.
Okay.
So I'm not going to talk about all of these.
I need a diagram?
Especially, you'll understand when I get there. Especially because some of these people are just bigger names. But Atsuko Okatsuka's father was so good. I love her so much. It's like the first couple of minutes felt almost like spoken word poetry to me. She's really thoughtful about her language in this special. But it's also just about, a lot of it is about women who are maybe not the best at being what we think women should be. Does that make sense? I just watched Robby Hoffman's Wake Up.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet. It's on my list.
I love Robby Hoffman. Robby's another one who I've been a fan of for years now. I know her first, not personally, but through writing for Gethard. She's just so funny and has such a specific kind of like sensibility. She really blew up this year because she married Gabby Windy, the Bachelorette.
Which is where I mostly, like, I knew who Robby Hoffman was before this, but that was what really brought her into my orbit, was because I was a Bachelorette person for quite a while. Yeah.
And similarly, I think a little bit to saying about Kumail is like, if that's where you first heard of Robby, you might not know that she is a hilarious comedy writer, TV writer, has been working for a long time, has a really interesting backstory. And so her special is, it's like, I was thinking about, I was like, if I watched some straight dude tell these jokes, I might be a little frustrated, but knowing the context of it and it coming from somebody like Robby, there's like a lot of jokes about like abortion and pedophilia, but in a really smart way that she...
The thing I wanted to kind of hop on that Robby Hoffman recommendation and add is the episode of WTF RIP that he does with Robby Hoffman. The versions of that of Mark Maron's podcast that I liked the best are when he is delightfully challenged by someone, where like the person that he's talking to can keep up with him in a way that he is surprised by the person and they have a back and forth rapport that's really like alive to listen to. And that episode with Robby Hoffman was one of those. They have a lot of they don't necessarily have a similar background at all, but they have a similar way of looking at comedy and looking at what good comedy is.
Yeah, totally.
And that interview was great. I'm excited to watch that one.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. An Intimate Evening with Adam Pally. I really liked it. Some people are going to think it's really cheesy. I thought it was really fun. I really love Adam Pally. Happy Endings is one of my favorite shows. And
it's a great show.
Again, not going to say anything about that one really at all. Just go in with an open heart. I think it's really fun. So my category, though, my subcategory is Dropout presents. Dropout has started in the last year or two putting on comedy specials.
It has all come together in my head now. I do get it.
Exactly. And this year they put out 3 really great ones.
Yeah.
They put out 3 and they are all great. And so if Dropout presents puts on a comedy special, I'm going to watch it. It was helpful for me this year that I was already fans of all 3 of these comedians. So for me, that helped that I was already going to watch those. But now knowing that they are hitting like 100% for me, I'm just always, if Dropout presents a comedy special, I'm going to watch it. And so this year, the first one they put out was Cameron Esposito's 4 Pills, which there's been a ton of writing and reviews on. It's so cool, though. And Cameron's so funny and smart.
Yeah.
Demi Adejuyigbe is going to do one back. Demi Adejuyigbe, is going to do one, parenthetical, numeral 1, backflip.
Backflip.
This
was on my honorable mentions.
He's so funny and so silly, but also so smart and thoughtful. And the special is just so fun. I was cackling the whole time.
There's a sincerity to it that can usually, or not usually, but often for me fall into the category of the thing that makes me feel a little bit cringy. I didn't feel it at all. I was like, this is a topic for Jesse David Fox, but like stand up as a person on stage with a microphone and nothing else, maybe a backdrop, is like what a lot of people think of as classical stand up that involves props, other people, music, additional elements that feel more like a stage show, is an area that some people don't enjoy as much.
Something I wanted to talk about is that like it feels like comedy in general has been embracing the like having like a conceit or like a gimmick, or like a gimmick feels derogatory. I don't really mean it that way, but like yeah, I think it's fun that people like Demi are trying to do stuff, you know? It's just fun ideas strung together, put together, but then also having something to say within that is kind of my favorite thing.
Yeah, like I have thought about that special repeatedly since then. It's not one specific bit with Demi's. It's more the sense of playfulness.
Totally, yeah.
While also being like having a serious undertone. But he's just such a joy to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's like a chameleon. He's constantly changing like what mental place he's in, and but in a way that you can kind of follow along with him. Yeah,
it's really cool to watch him work, I think. And then, the last one, like I said, just came out this week, Hopeful Potato. It's way more standard, straightforward, person in a microphone stand-up, but it's great. I love Aparna Nancherla. I think she's so funny.
She is, yeah.
So, that's my comedy specials category.
Love it. I know. I also had the thought of like, Kumail's is coming out literally tomorrow. Like,
I know.
But I'm excited to see that as well. I think I'm going to knock out my other category here because it's not a category I think you share. So it's not going to be a super long conversation. One thing that listeners may or may not know about me is that they know I watch a lot of television that we don't end up talking about because it's not quality television necessarily. There's a genre of this not as quality television that I spend probably most, I'm realizing now as I look back on my year, of my other time watching. You're looking at me like you have a guess.
I don't have a guess. That's why
the genre is crime shows. Primarily British crime shows or other UK area crime shows.
Right.
This is a weird, comforting genre to me, and I don't know why. It's usually a put-upon female detective that has to deal with the idiocy of her male colleagues, or
I love that.
a brilliant male detective who has been relegated to some position that is not worthy of his brilliance because of his other behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
Less appealing, but also interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I think I watch a lot of these, but let me look and see what my list looks like from this last year. I couldn't remember what some of these shows were, because what happens is
Great.
I'll find one that I haven't seen. I will watch the entire thing in a weekend at the studio or a weekend knitting or whatever, and instantly lose any memory of it entirely. Partly because of the formulaicness of this type of show. Some of these, I'm going to just go down the list with a short, tiny description. Some of these are more mainstream US shows that I just put in this category because they're crime shows, and I think of them as not that great. So, in no particular order, possibly in rough chronological reverse order. Down Cemetery Road. Government plot against veterans, bunch of murders. Absentia, murder, kidnapping victim happens to be alive. They thought she was dead. Slow Horses, a little bit better than the rest of these because Gary Oldman as a smelly, gross detective leading a band of merry misfits in some side MI6 office. Hijack, Idris Elba on a plane. The Beast in Me, Murder on Long Island. The Diplomat, Kerry Russell in London. Untamed, Murder in a National Park. Department Q, Cold Cases. Hostage, Political Husband Kidnapped. The Waterfront, Drug Drama in the South. The Survivors, Murder in some UK adjacent country that I can't remember. The Night Agent is an MI6 guy that answers a phone. He's the night agent. So again, I'm including a couple in here that don't necessarily belong there. Task, because Task was a great show. It almost would have made, like, if I had a top 10 list, it might have been on it. So, but Task is a crime show.
Genre-wise,
it's just
yeah.
Genre-wise, it's murders in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically Heat in outside Philly.
Be so specific. It's murders in Delco. So let's.
I know. I said outside Philly, way outside.
Mm-hmm.
Reacher, Giant Man Solves Crimes. High Potential, Smart Lady with Kids. Your Friends and Neighbors, John Hamm, Rob's Houses. So when I went back and looked at my Netflix, it was like, wow. And that's been the past, like, number of years. I could have done the same list, but I think because there was a dearth of other things that we hadn't already talked about, I was like, well, that's what I spend a lot of time on after Taskmaster.
More than half of those I've never even heard of.
No,
More
because why would you?
Half of the ones that I've heard of, I know only by name. And then maybe like 3 of those would I've been able to give you an idea of what they were about.
They are all about murder in some way. They're all about some smart person solving said murder. The murders take place in various places. It's always about, like, a hyper competent person fixing things.
Right.
And I think that is the overall attraction.
Yeah, that seems very satisfying and soothing.
Yeah. And some of them, like, I would never recommend. I just watched all of Absentia. Don't. It's there's too much torture porn in it. It's very unpleasant.
So if you are somebody who thinks that you like like this genre, you've watched a couple of things, but you want to get a little deeper in, which one should they start with? So
it depends on how deep you already are. I would say the people mostly probably, if they've heard of anything in this genre, heard of Slow Horses because it was up for some Emmys. And they might have heard of The Diplomat because Kerry Russell is in it. I would say, and again, I'm going to leave out the US ones because, like, The Beast in Me has Claire Danes in it, and it's been around a lot recently. High Potential is really fun. It's a lot lighter than some of these other ones. Don't watch the John Hamm one. It's really, really bad. I would say out of the remaining, I think Slow Horses is great, but that, again, is a little higher on that normal list. Similar to that would be something like Down Cemetery Road, which is, I think, based on something by the same author, possibly. It's pretty recent. It just came out on Apple TV, and it takes a weird left turn. It starts with a woman who's an art conservator, and I was really excited we were going to get, like, a museum mystery. You don't. No. Another one I would say is Department Q got a little more attention than some of these other ones on this list. It's good. Department Q would be a good one if you haven't watched it.
Great.
So, and then one little sleeper one, The Survivors was really quite good. And that is, I think, something that I only got fed on Netflix because I've watched so many of these. It's not something that most people have seen. I consider it like dad television. I think it's the area that I overlap with like Chris Ryan from The Watch on.
Right.
But it makes more sense for him than it does for me. But I think it also comes from like growing up reading a lot of mystery books and things like that. I love a really smart person making a clean solve of a case and the bad guy gets punished. It's very like base instinct. Yeah.
Sometimes you need that. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. You're up.
My next category, documentaries.
Okay. I love how you've totally cheated. I love it.
I told you I cheated. I told you.
Yeah, that's great.
I watched so many this year.
Yeah.
And so I want to shout out my favorites. I didn't watch a ton of just like straight up movies or TV this year. But I watched a bunch of documentaries. And so I'm just going to say the names of a few, and then I'm going to stop on the one that I think folks are least likely to watch, but I think should.
Okay. Perfect.
So of course, John Candy, I Like Me. We talked about it. I think we talked about it a little bit with Marlon, but like
with Marlon.
Of course, I'm going to love the John Candy documentary. You know what I mean? Like, but it's really thoughtful. It's really loving. You can tell the heart on that man. And obviously, I'm obsessed with him. What also came out this year, well, technically, it was made in 2023. It didn't get you couldn't watch it online until this year, though, which is the Andy Kaufman documentary, Thank You Very Much. So 2 of them were announced really close together. There's the one that our friend Tommy Avalone is the executive producer on. That's Andy Kaufman Is Me. It's just like premiering at film festivals this year. So that probably we won't get a chance to see until next year. But if you are an Andy Kaufman obsessive like me and you want something to hold you over, you can watch Alex Braverman's Thank You Very Much, which is just another sweet, thoughtful documentary on Andy Kaufman. It doesn't try too hard. It can be really easy to try too hard when it comes to talking about Andy Kaufman because he was so complicated and weird. And so
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, exactly. They don't even mention the Jim Carrey of it all. Like, it's really just like a loving look at a guy who I care a lot about. Come See Me in the Good Light. If
I can't watch it, I'm going to lose my mind.
I'm not saying don't. It's so beautiful and heartbreaking. Andrea Gibson,
produced by Tig Notaro,
but also like Glennon Doyle and Abby Wambach and Sarah Bareilles. It's like a ton of. But Andrea Gibson was a spoken word, mostly was a written, but also really known for spoken word poetry. Really thoughtful, so sincere person. Her poetry is so like human, and I was a fan of theirs for a really long time. And a few years ago, they were diagnosed with cancer, and they made this documentary with their wife, who's also a poet, Megan Foley, and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful and funny. And Andrea's poetry, when they started writing about death, is so frank. And they just died a few months ago. And the like last poem that was released is just beautiful. I keep going back to it and reading it and crying. I'll link to the poem as well. So when you are feeling like you either need a good cry, or you're feeling especially strong, it's like don't go in between. Go check it out. It was just absolutely beautiful.
It's on my literal watch list, and I keep seeing it on my screen and being like, I'm not right now. I can't do it right now. But I'm going to watch it because I mean.
You'll love it, but just wait till it's like a little sunnier out maybe, or where you have some plans right after. So if you were already a fan of Andrea's, you've probably seen the documentary, and if not, go check it out and then fall in love with Andrea's poetry. I said I wasn't going to say a lot about a bunch of documentaries. The one I'm about to say now is the one I actually wanted to spend a second on. Okay. Documentary came out this year called Deaf President Now. And it is co-directed by Nal DeMarco, who folks might know is the second man to ever win America's Next Top Model, first deaf person to ever win. He's the most beautiful person on the planet. I've been following him. Yeah, he's incredible. I've been following him forever because of my interest in American Sign Language and deaf culture and all of that. So this documentary, Deaf President Now, if you have any passing knowledge of deaf history and deaf culture in America, you know Deaf President Now was the movement at Gallaudet, which is a deaf university in D.C. In 1988, the students had this like locked down the university and demanded a deaf president. They had never before had a deaf person on their board, been represented by a deaf person. The person who had been voted to be president didn't even know sign language. And so Deaf President Now became a huge movement. And it like kind of like paved the way for a lot of things like the Americans with Disabilities Act passed a year or two later. And it had a lot to do with that. The documentary, and like I knew all of those facts. I could have told you that a year ago without even having to think about it, because you learned so much about that. But the documentary, there's just like a ton of footage from the university that I wasn't aware of the students. And so you get to see there are these four figures who emerge as sort of the leaders of the student movement. And you get to see them then, but then also now reflecting on it. And it's you have an interpreter voicing, but you also have them on screen signing. So you really get to see them tell their stories. You get to see the sort of like tensions that were happening between them and how the story kind of like folds out. It's so good. Really lovely, really funny. They're all four of them who are telling their stories are so funny. I loved it. I would have loved it. That's why this is the one I really want to focus on. Even if I didn't already have this interest going into it, I would have found this just such a great watch.
I think I'd heard mention of that on a podcast, some other pop culture podcast a while back. And it was one of those, I didn't write it down, so it disappeared entirely from my brain.
Definitely worth checking out. I started to say it's co-directed Niall DeMarco and David Guggenheim, who is like, he directed Waiting for Superman, It Might Get Loud, and Inconvenient Truth. He's also directed one or two episodes of like every crime procedural show.
Gotcha.
So to, like the documentary guy and the deaf culture, deaf awareness guy teaming up on this documentary is a perfect combo. So yeah, documentaries.
I'm putting that on my list to watch too.
Loved it.
Can I contribute one to the documentary
list?
Of course. Mm-hmm. So on my honorable mentions list was something called The Quilters. It was it is a Netflix documentary that was sort of recommended to me by the algorithm gods. I think I just said it. Did I say it's on Netflix? It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It technically came out in 2024 or was made in 24, but I think it came out on Netflix in 25 because it was on my watch list this year. It is at risk of being one of those feel-good prison documentaries where it's like people in a maximum security prison given a sense of purpose by X, Y, and Z. But and on the surface, that is what it is. But if you watch it, I feel like I think it transcends that somehow. Maybe it's just the people involved. Maybe it's just that I'm a person who's interested in textile art and it's an interesting thing to watch the process.
Right. Yeah.
It is very like it gets deep into the process of making and the challenges of making. And so I think that's why for me it transcends the like feel good, like let's pat ourselves on the back for making, incarceration less horrible. No, there's some of that in there. But for me, it was the fact that it allowed me to like watching them get into the intricacies of this very like time consuming and difficult, intricate task. To me, other people may have different opinions. To me, it felt like it treated the men making these beautiful objects it treated them like it would treat any other technician or expert or whatever. To me, and again, I haven't watched it multiple times, but I remember just being like pleasantly surprised that it wasn't exactly what I expected from it.
Right.
And the quilts are beautiful. And so, yeah.
Cool.
That
sounds really interesting.
My honorable mention for that category.
Yeah, I hadn't even heard of that. So that's cool. I love a good documentary. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think last year, right? Wasn't this the month of documentaries for us? That was last year, right?
It was around now. Yeah. And so, I mean, again, we're not recommending things we've covered, but we do have some really awesome documentaries that we have talked about on this podcast.
Right. And some of them with their creators. So yeah, if haven't, if you're new to the podcast, go check out December 2024's episodes. There's a bunch of good stuff over there, back there.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stick with this general area for the moment because I have one like show on my list, and then I have one weird niche area of media.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go to the niche area of media,
okay,
and then I'm going to end with the big show.
Great.
Because this niche area of media is the TikTok and YouTube response to the BBC show The Game of Wool. So,
okay,
this is what this. We're all in our silos.
Yeah, you said niche.
This is going to prove it. This is super niche, but I think that there's a bigger category here, maybe, and it is British reality shows, and the like ones that work and ones that don't. So Great British Bake Off being the like flagship, right?
Right.
The kindness, the interest in technique and expertise and all of that. I love Bake Off. This was a great last season this year. That was something I considered talking about. There has been I think it's called the Great British Sewing Bee, the Great Pottery Throwdown. There has been Blown Away, which is a glass blowing show.
I liked Blown Away.
Yeah,
one of those artists is a Philly-based guy. He did some stuff with Eastern State. Alex Rosenberg.
I think we might have talked about this when I was watching Blown Away, or not on the podcast, but I think you mentioned that to me. Yeah, that's really cool. So this sort of expertise-based kind competition show is sort of a happy thing for me. Great Pottery Throwdown is one of the more unsung.
Great Pottery Throwdown is a good throw.
Yeah,
that's good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, these shows
like
love puns.
Yeah.
Love so many puns. Oh my God. The knitting one is the worst. But anyway, Great Pottery Throwdown, I'm not here to recommend, but I would recommend. One of the judges is so moved occasionally by pottery that he cries. Not even occasionally, frequently.
Wow. Hearing that juxtaposed with what started our podcast, which was in a way, what started this podcast was your hate for the pottery in The Watchers is really something you take seriously, huh?
I do. I take art making very seriously. And I like people that also take it seriously. And I think that, and people that are moved by art are my people, right? Mm-hmm. And so Keith from the Great Pottery Throwdown and his tears when he picks up a piece of pottery and says like, oh, this has a really good weight. Like, wonderful. The Game of Wool, I'm not recommending this show unless you're already into fiber arts in general. What I'm recommending is shows like this that allow you, as someone who has expertise in a certain area, to engage with your community of expertise in playfully picking apart and celebrating this type of show.
I love that.
Super niche, but... So Game of Wool, I'm not going to go too far into it. Most people probably have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, but it's called...
But like maybe one or two of our listeners is so excited right now. Like,
yeah. The Game of Wool, Britain's Best Knitter, is a show where they've gathered 10 fiber artists of wildly varying skill sets to a competition show where they're theoretically trying to pick the best. This is not Bake Off. The people at Bake Off tend to be very skilled. And the show that's called itself Britain's Best Knitter is actually not only about knitting, it's also about crocheting and other things. The best example I can...
Do you think it's because they knew that like the general public wouldn't know if it was like best fiber artist, what that meant?
I really think the people who made this show could give two shits about the fiber art community and their opinions, because the way this is put together is so little about the actual craft and expertise in that craft. The tasks are not geared towards, like, if they had like a technical, like they have on Bake Off, knitters would be losing their minds. Instead, they're crocheting like deck chair covers and stuff.
Got it.
But the peak of this
is making me want to watch this show, just so you know.
It's on YouTube. It's not legally there, I don't think, but it is on YouTube. There's two things that made this like put this over the top for me. Number one, the very first challenge they did was to knit a Fair Isle vest.
Fair Isle. Yeah, got it.
Yes. Fair Isle is a very specific term, specific to the Scottish history of this type of knitting. They butchered it so badly that the Fair Isle Association, or whatever the actual name is, of Scotland, came out and denounced the episode.
Hilarious. You really gotta... Wow.
Yeah. And then the second thing that put this over the top for me is one of the contestants, who I'm not going to spoil where things end up with, but there is a young 23-year-old cybersecurity student named Isaac on this show, who is adorable. He doesn't like to be hugged. He's got some other fun personality characteristics. The second episode was to make a dog outfit.
Oh my God. This is why...
He made a gritty costume for a dog.
Right. You told me
I sent
about
you this. Yes.
That's right.
He studied abroad.
What was her name?
Yes. He studied abroad. There's the puns in the show are awful. Not this
like the
one
really
we're doing right now,
made.
but exactly.
Yeah, the puns in the show are also awful. You're right.
But he studied abroad in Philly, fell in love with Philly culture specifically. Like,
how
not like fell in love
haven't
with America,
studied
but
abroad
like
in Philly and fallen in love, you know? Okay.
appreciated Philly in a way that would be surprising to other people in our country, but not surprising to people who grew up in the New Jersey, Philadelphia area.
Right.
And so his first reference to it was the gritty costume, which is beautiful, hilarious, perfect. Put on a little like mini greyhound.
Incredible.
And then they had to do a challenge where they knit or crocheted food, realistic food. And Isaac chose to do a everything bagel with bacon, egg, and cheese.
Bacon, egg, and cheese. Salt, pepper, ketchup?
Yeah,
I know. How you would crochet or knit salt, pepper, ketchup. But
he literally built it so it was two halves and put a magnet in the middle so you could pull them apart.
So good.
He wrapped it in tinfoil.
There you go. That's the...
So between that and the controversy, the reaction videos on YouTube about how it's not real knitting.
Say controversy. That's how they say it.
Yes, I'm sure they do. The fact that there's a judge that every week has a new weird hairstyle with like knitting needles and yarn stuck in it. It's the most niche thing, but it's, to me, an example of the joy of niche television experiences that we can now have like a whole media culture around. Like my TikTok is only knit talk now. It is literally, that's all I'm seeing.
Oh, and I think the final will have just aired coming when this episode comes out. Yeah.
The final is this Sunday when we're recording. And Holger, I could talk about the show forever and I'm not going to, because like one person maybe knows what I'm talking about, but there's a German fashion designer knitwear person named Holger on this show who is the most dryly hilarious gay knitter person I've ever... I love him so much. The contempt that he has for the judging is written all over his face. Incredible. Every single episode. He's clearly more talented than either of the judges, and it's beautiful to watch.
I'm genuinely gonna watch this. I can't wait.
If you're interested in people doing crafty things that are intricate and like, and you can see flashes of brilliance in there. Like if you watch Holger specifically, you'll actually get a sense of what really amazing handwork could look like. Right. He doesn't get enough of an opportunity to really show off, but yeah. And if one of the fun things is to look at the clothing that they're wearing, because then you really see the skill, because they're all wearing their own hand knits.
Right.
Yeah. They're all wearing things they've made. So there's lots of There's one girl, Elsa, who does a lot of recreation of vintage knitting patterns. So she's wearing a lot of fun stuff. So yeah, that is my number 4. Game of Wool / other niche craft competition shows and the communities that form around them.
I love that so much. My number 4 is the idea of live streaming live improv. And I know that Improv is one of those things that feels like you have to watch it in person. And obviously, there's nothing better than being in a room with a really good, skilled improv team who have like found a game and are like really killing it.
Locked in, yeah.
And like, there's nothing better than that. But if you're somebody who is skeptical because you've never really seen good improv, or like all you know is Whose Line Is It Anyway, which of course is fun, but it's not really like, if you've never watched good long form improv, especially, my suggestion is there are two that are like the top places where you can watch them, where you can watch improvisers at the top of their games, just some of the best people doing improv. And one is UCB Theater's website, one is Dynasty Typewriter. And both of them, you can pay a few bucks for whatever show you want to live stream. And for me, like if I'm bored on a night or want something on while I'm working on something or whatever, I'll just see what's going on that night. And like, for example, tonight, UCBcomedy.com, you can live stream the George Lucas talk show, which is so good and so funny. It's Connor Ratliff and Griffin Newman and Petra Kottner and whatever guests they're going to have on, which is usually some fantastic comedian or somebody from TV. Like, there's always big names. And then also just this weekend, like ASCAT, which is the greatest improv. Like, you don't get better improv than ASCAT. And they always have some cool person from the comedy world or entertainment world.
Yeah, I mean, ASCAT, when I was living in New York, was the best $5 you could spend on a Sunday night.
Exactly. I think now it's the best $10 you can spend, I think is what it costs at doors now. But holy shit, improv. Also tomorrow, again, you can't watch it now, but just to give you an idea of how much happens.
It's constant, yeah.
It's constant. Like Friday, December 19th, UCB Comedy streaming. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different shows you can watch, and they're all just the best comedians and improvisers out there. And then, like I said, Dynasty Typewriter also does it, and like this weekend there as well. Like, I'm not actually sure what I'm even going to stream because there's so much going on. Tomorrow night, a live Hallmark Christmas movie, Dynasty Typewriter, The Muppet Scriptsmas Carol, which is a live reading of The Muppet Christmas Carol with people like Erika Ishii, Giovanni. I'm just reading the dropout names to you.
Giovanni!
Jodie. Yeah, Anna Garcia, Oscar Montoya, Brett Morris, Hal Lublin, Mark Evan Jackson, Paul F. Tompkins. I'm only reading like half of the names. Janet Varney, Dana Wickens, Elise Willems. Like, just they're... Yeah, and so that's not really improv, but it is live comedy. It's a live reading. And it's just a great way to also like keep live comedy going because those rooms aren't huge. And so buying tickets at home helps support those smaller rooms getting to keep doing what they're doing. And so just stream some live improv. That's my recommendation.
I love that. I'm on the UCB mailing list, and I'm always seeing things where I'm like, oh my God, I should totally like buy a ticket to that and watch it online. And I keep forgetting to actually do it, but I'm going to put that back on my list because I love improv. I'm not a skeptic at all.
Right. Yeah.
But I did go to a lot of live improv when I lived in New York, and
and I'm not obviously pretending like, no,
it's not the same, but it is. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
That's like, why would you watch the old TCGS, because it's still funny.
Right.
It's the same thing.
And it's a good way, too, to keep an eye on who's up and coming. Like, on December 22nd, is that Monday? No. Yeah. I was hoping I'd be able... Oh, well. Is the Mr. Cardboard Christmas Spectacular. And Mr. Cardboard is a clown who I've seen a few times with Gethard's That Show, which that show also often live streams. He's just one of the funniest people in newer comedy right now, Mr. Cardboard. I love him so much. He's just a very silly clown. And his Christmas Spectacular is this weekend. And I'm not going up to New York because, it's December in New York and I want to survive. But I will be streaming it. So
nice. Yeah, no, I think that's a good one because, again, not everyone is into improv, but I think more people would be if they saw good improv.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
I think
it's
that's
not the same thing, you know?
And this is how you can see really good improv.
Yeah. Because for me, going to ASCAT shows, like, I've never laughed harder in my life. Like, we used to go to the Del Close Marathon, and, like, it was just magical. When it clicks, it's like some sort of weird electric current is happening that's connecting the people in the room that you can't explain.
Yeah, at the Wellness Together, the org that Geth and I both work for, have this huge conference every year. It's like thousands of people in mental health and specifically youth mental health and education come together. And there's always like a comedy night at the end. And this year was an improv night. And it was, I've told you, but it was Jason Mantzoukas, Nicole Byer, Rob Hubel, Chris Gethard, Mary Holland, and Paul Scheer, who, again, top of the game. But being in a room with a bunch of like teachers and stuff from all over the country who are not improv people, getting to watch all of them see something like that really like for the really first time tier. And really get it, and just like looking around and multiple people laughing, like crying, holding their stomachs, and you could tell it's just some of the most like joyful like things you can take part in. 3
of those people were part of one of my sort of touchstone comedy things that I go back to when I need a laugh, which is the dumpster episode of the Chris Gethard show.
Exactly. So, just the best.
The dynamic there is just a very long-standing relationship in improv comedy that is developed because they're all so good at it.
Exactly. Yeah. So go watch go stream some live improv and then go see some live improv. Because I'll bet wherever you live, there are probably smaller. There are the folks whose dream is to get to do improv
UCB level
and like, you know, are making their way there, and you can say you knew them when. So go check them out in your local area too.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So my number 5, I'm going to bring us down a little bit, I guess.
I love it.
Just for this one, I have another honorable mention that I want to say that is much more upbeat, but my 5th one is on a lot of other people's lists, but is something that I feel like of all the shows I watched this year that we haven't talked about is the one that has stuck with me the most, and that is The Pitt. I did rewatch the whole thing while I was like working on a sweater last week. It is not always an easy watch. Every episode is full of heavy things, heavy moments. It takes place across a 15-hour shift at a hospital. One episode is 1 hour. That's the weird, not the weird, but that's the like unique conceit of the show. You follow one shift where somehow a bunch of crazy shit happens, but also it has been said by lots of medical professionals that it's the most realistic look at what it is to work in an ER that they've seen on television. It also is a very specifically a post-COVID show in that the things that have happened in the medical and hospital industry are sometimes overly directly pointed at in the show. And that's why I say it's not always it's not ever a cheerful show, but it is one where you fall in love with the characters and you root for them. And so there's like, you know, a class of interns. It's very Grey's Anatomy, every other medical show, but elevated. It's like a combination of prestige TV and like procedural medical drama. And it's an interesting combination.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. And every time you talk about it, it makes me want to watch it more. I will eventually.
Yeah, it's Noah Wyle from ER, you know. I mean, there's some interesting little references to ER, the show that you really are not supposed to mention in conjunction with it because it's so copyright-wise questionable. The Noah Wyle in a medical show, post-ER, there was some controversy around that. But it has the sort of like battle-worn charge nurse character that you love because she holds everyone together all the time. There's like the young interns that are making dumb mistakes, but it like plays with those cliches, but then it also has the most human moments I think I've seen on a TV show outside of maybe Somebody Somewhere, the most like close to reality. Like if you're someone who has dealt with a lot of hospital, family, loss things, this is going to be a triggering show. But that's why I say it's tough because it's triggering, but it's also one of the most realistic depictions of that experience that I've seen. Like at an elevated level because it's a TV show, but
right.
It's just like, yeah. So maybe look ahead at the little blurbs for each episode before you jump in if you have like some trauma around a number of different areas like family loss, like I don't want to spoil anything. Just see what the little episode blurbs tell you and if you can handle it or not at the moment. But it's so well done. And it's coming, the second season is coming in January. So that's another reason to recommend it now. If you haven't watched it and it sounds interesting, I would catch up on season 1. Season 2 is also going to be one long shift, I believe, over one day. I think I heard a rumor that it's supposed to be 4th of July, which is like notoriously one of the craziest days in hospitals. Don't quote me on that, but I think I heard that.
No shade to Pittsburgh, right? But something about fireworks in that particular city. Yeah.
Yeah, the Pitt is supposed to be a hospital in Pittsburgh. I forgot to mention that too. But yeah,
like the type that, you know, might be more likely to blow their hands off.
There's definitely going to be somebody who blew a hand off in this series season. Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, and so it's a little message heavy, but it's also a message that I think a lot of medical professionals are happy to have out there about understaffing. Like that's a repeated issue. The waiting room there never empties. Like it's full and everybody's waiting 8 to 12 hours to get in. Like, so yeah, I think the reason I'm kind of caveating it is just because it's close enough to reality that it might be too triggering for some people, but it's so well done and so well acted. And just the endorsements of it by people in the medical field feels different to me than most medical shows.
Yeah, I can't think of many other medical shows that have gotten medical.
Yeah. People aren't going around saying Grey's Anatomy is really accurate to life.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's cool.
Yeah.
I saved my favorite thing for last. It's music. Okay.
Nice.
Category is albums that came out in 2025.
Oh, geez. We'll be here for 3 more hours.
No, I picked just my favorites. I actually kind of mostly focused on, and I'm not going to, again, I know I keep saying I'm just going to say the names. I really am just going to say the names for most of these. There are 2 I'm going to pause on. Okay. There are maybe 3 I'm going to pause on. But the like running theme for a lot of these is like bands I've loved since I was a teenager putting out genuinely good albums this year, especially ones who haven't in like 5, 10, 15, like years and years suddenly coming back with great albums. And so in that category is the starting line, Eternal Youth, Armor for Sleep, There Is No Memory, and then my favorite from this category and one of maybe my favorite album of the year is Motion City Soundtrack's The Same Old Wasted Wonderful World. And they are, you know, my top 3 favorite bands who are tied. Motion City's in there. They mean everything to me. They have not put a new album out since Panic Stations in 2015. And it sounds like Motion City, but it sounds like Motion City grown up. Justin and Josh are like 49 years old now. So they're... it's a different kind of thing, but it's like, as opposed to the more like, you know, 30 something concerns, they're still dealing with the same diagnoses and, writing about it in really fun pop culture twinged ways, a little crunchier, still just the best sort of pop punky kind of ish band. They don't sound like anybody else. And Justin has this big, beautiful voice that I love so much. And my favorite song, on the album Particle Physics features Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy. It's perfect. I love it. It's the song I listened to the most this year. Couple others. Pool Kids, Easier Said Than Done. Pool Kids rules. I love them. They are not a band from 100 years ago. They are current. I think this is their 3rd studio album. It is fantastic. Big pop anthems. No, but not a pop band. They're like weirdly... Like their last album was super poppy. The one before that was kind of math rocky. This is like an in-between. I just think they're so good. They're just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. So get it on the ground floor with Pool Kids. Algernon Cadwallader, they're a Pennsylvania band, Trying Not to Have a Thought. Another one who's been around forever. New album for the first time in a long time. Pup, Who Will Look After the Dogs. Way poppier than their last album that everybody loved. It's way like punkier and way poppier. I loved it so much. Anxious's album Bambi is so good. Check that one out. And then Haley Williams, Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party. She's self-released, Haley Williams of Paramore. This album is like 20 tracks long. It's so good. It's so good. Good Old Days is maybe my favorite. I said like Particle Physics was my most played song of 2025. And that's only because Good Old Days only came out in the last couple of months. I've had that song literally on repeat. It's just so good. I love her. I think she has just one of the most incredible voices.
You need to have a music podcast again.
Oh, I miss it so much.
I know. You need an outlet for all of this, and I am like not capable of keeping up.
That's okay. I'm just firing through these because what I want our listeners to do is to just check the list on our show notes, add them all. Maybe I'll make a playlist and link to it.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
I think I'll do that. And then the last one is Gully Boys, a band that I love, love, love from Minneapolis. They just put out their self-titled album, Gully Boys. It is unbelievable. They are just the coolest band. Their lead singer has one of the biggest voices. They're just like big rock kind of anthems, but also I don't even know how to describe them. They're the coolest. I've been following them for a long time. They played When Left to the Dial when we were live streaming. They played a set in our studio that I still watch. I feel very lucky to have been part of that because they are blowing up. The album was just on John Darnielle of the Mountain Goats, his favorite albums of 2025. It made his list. So check out Gully Boys. They are unbelievable.
Yeah, if you make a playlist, I would be psyched to listen to it. Like, I am not a person who is in the contemporary music, like, world enough to really keep up on any of it. But I am happy to discover new things when other people feed them to me with a spoon. And so...
Well, I will make a playlist, and I will share it in the episode notes. So that's my list. Documentaries, comedy, improv.
Andrea recommends genres.
Music.
And media.
Yeah.
Andrea's recommending media this year.
And a podcast.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend podcasts, to be very clear, but I would recommend a podcast.
Right. And to recap, mine are Taskmaster, specifically the 1 year later episode of Game Changer, British crime shows in general, niche crafting television shows and their watching culture, and the Pitt. I have one more honorable mention.
Go for it.
That is a moment, not a show or a specific thing. And I'm going to put it in the chat for you to watch before we talk about it. And I'm gonna say that the best part of this starts about halfway through. So what I just put in the chat for Andrea is Tremel Tillman doing Milchick's choreography and merriment performance with a live band. This also could have been added to with the performance that happened at the awards show where it was sort of a flash mob situation. But this bit of television to me is one of the moments that brought me the most joy this year because I have a dance background and a cheerleading background. And as a white girl in New Jersey growing up, I did not know how much all of my culture at the time was influenced by Black culture and like marching band culture and drumline culture and all of that. Like, now that I know that, I mean, I would have loved this anyway, but just seeing that on a massive Apple TV show, like, and just Tremel Tillman's performance of it is so amazing.
He's just perfect. Yeah, this is
because of all the psychological stuff going on behind it too. It's fascinating, but like I love that you immediately were like the shoulders, like his little shoulder shimmy in that moment is like one of the happiest, like one of the things that's brought me the most happiness. Because I love watching people dance to begin with or perform in that way, and he's just nails this whole thing.
He really is the best. Everything he does, I'm just perfect.
We'll get
what
back to Severance in like 2029.
Yeah,
so
maybe if we're lucky.
Yeah. Do you have any other honorable mentions?
No, I think I managed to talk about every single thing I consumed. Oh, here's an honorable mention. Get a piece of crusty bread, pop it in your air fryer.
Oh, no.
And just really a chunk of good cheese, and that's dinner.
Okay.
With some
because you just did
hot
that
honey or
hot honey, yeah.
Garlic chili crisp, one or the other.
Ooh.
And that's dinner.
Okay, because you did that, I was going to leave this off, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to recommend national parks.
Great.
In particular, so this past March, I had to go to a conference out west in Nevada, and I did a 3-day or 4-day 3 national parks run, which is way too fast. But I am discovering which parks, like I went to the Grand Canyon, which was amazing. But to me, Death Valley was by far the star. Death Valley National Park is, to me, kind of like Badlands. It's like being on an alien landscape. You do not understand how it exists. And so that is my recommendation. Support national parks, because fuck this government. I bought an America the Beautiful National Parks pass at my first park of that trip. I can now go to any national park for free for the rest of the year. Not that expensive. I mean, it's obviously depending on your financial situation, but if you were someone who would go to a few national parks, possibly over a year, the pass is like $80. You usually have to pay $25 to $30 to get into a national park. So if you go to, I mean, I covered my bases. You can make it worth
your,
Yeah, it was worth it to me on that one trip.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. Death Valley in particular, national parks in general is my I guess last recommendation of the year.
I love that recommendation. I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have anything off the top of your head that you're looking forward to for like the first quarter of 2026?
In terms of media, the main one would be the Pitt coming back, I think. We don't know when Yellow Jackets is coming back.
Right.
There's some other stuff on the way. Right now, I could say the thing that I'm most excited about is the last 2 episodes of Pluribus.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording this between episodes 7 and 8 of Pluribus. Episode 7, we're going to talk about in the context of the last 3, but was one of my favorite episodes of television of the year.
I loved it so much.
And so that obviously isn't into next year, but I will say that they're writing season 2 already right now. They're in
Great
the writer's
sign.
room,
I would
which
love
is fantastic
to see
Yeah.
them. I know it's like things are a little different now, and also it being an Apple TV show but like I don't remember Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. They were on a pretty good cadence, right? Or am I wrong?
I think so, but I think it might also be our like rose-colored glasses. Certainly Apple TV shows like Severance, shows like Yellow Jackets. There's a group of prestige shows that have taken 2 to 3 years in between series. That is insane. So I don't know when we're getting Yellow Jackets back, but I have noticed the social media presence has increased again.
To ramp up. Yeah, I was going to say.
I've been getting ads for Yellow Jackets as a whole with clips from the last few seasons. And so that leads me to believe that maybe they're going to release a date soon, and that it should be this year.
Which is exciting, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything that you have coming up that you're excited about?
I know. I asked you that question. I liked season 1 of Fallout quite a bit. And I know Kumail's going to be in season 2. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's out now. That's exciting.
Wait, is it out now?
I got a notification yesterday.
Wait,
no, it's
really?
out. It's on Amazon. I just saw a notification for it.
That's so exciting. Why did I think that was January?
Because most things are.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of stuff coming out now.
And it's a week-to-week one, right? So it'll be through.
I don't remember. I think so.
I think so. So we'll check in. We'll see how we feel, if that's something we're going to check in on at some point or not. I think that's for right now, because it's the only thing I can think of that has an actual date, which I thought was next month and is actually today. But otherwise, I can't. I read a really good book that comes out January. It doesn't come out until January 6th. So... But it's called Humor Me. It's Never Forget.
Sorry, that was terrible.
It's called Humor Me. I want to give you the full title.
Okay.
Go put a pre-order in for this book. It's called Humor Me: How Laughing More Can Make You Present, Creative, Connected, and Happy. It's by Chris Duffy. He's the host of the How to Be a Better Human podcast, the TED podcast. He's great. He's a comedian, really funny guy. And that book is really, again, lovely and funny and made me feel like it's okay to want to laugh and be happy right now at a time where that doesn't always feel like a good use of our time. And
I would say it's required if you're able.
Exactly.
You know, just to get through it.
So if you need a book that also, the thing I loved about it is so well researched. There's so much science in it too, which I think is so fun. So that's something I'm looking forward to, seeing it out in the wild with people getting to read it and love it. I thought it was great. I think that's it. It's not. Yeah. What else is there?
I think we did well. People have hopefully a good amount of stuff to keep them. I heard someone talk about these lists as a way to fill the like weird dead space between the holidays.
That was me last week to you.
Was it you? Someone else said that too.
It was okay, maybe, but 100% the person you were talking about, it was me and you last week.
I mean, what else is new?
I loved that.
But someone else on another podcast did say that recently, I think, because I was listening to a best of. They were talking about that. Got it. But it is a way to kind of like find what you missed and, you know, maybe something, hopefully, that we try. I think given our tastes between the two of us, most of this is not like mainstream, whatever, like The Pitt, I think is, but a lot of it is more, I think, not on a lot of year-end lists. And so maybe new stuff for people to look at.
Yeah, I hope so. And if you guys have stuff on your year-end list that we didn't mention that you think we might like, or that our other listeners might like, give us a call, send us an email, shoot us a message on Instagram. It's 856-336-8986. Give us a call.
Yes. Let us know what you also what you're looking forward to that's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stuff for us to check out. And so next week we will be covering 7 through 9 of Pluribus. I am so excited.
I know. I love being excited for TV. It's such a fun feeling.
Right? It is a really fun feeling. Pluribus, I haven't been on Reddit since Yellow Jackets ended since the last season. Pluribus has me back on Reddit. Not as much as I was for Yellow Jackets, because I feel like I'm enjoying letting this show just kind of lead me where it wants to without aggressively like trying to figure shit out. But there's just so much to noodle on. Yeah.
It's really cool.
I love that. Yeah, so next week will be that. And then, we'll let you know where we're going from there.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
bang yourself in the head.
Get in the car.
And go to New Jersey.
Go to New Jersey.